guys, this is Echo Sounds with another tutorial for ADSR and SylenthTutorials.com. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel and you want to do that, you can sign up at youtube.com/ADSRtuts. So that was a quick demo of the Melbourne Bounce monophonic lead that we'll be making today inside of Sylenth. And just a quick side note, these little blue tracks right here, I just messed up. This blue one is just an offbeat bass that I made massive and bounced out. Really simple, and this is a drum loop I put together and bounced out. So there wasn't so many tracks in my window. And with this, I do have an instance of the sausage fattener on it. Typically found with Melbourne style leads that you're going to want to slam the volume pretty hard with either a limiter or a compressor, or if you have sausage fattener, you can use that, either one. And if I was actually going to turn this into a track, I'd get more creative with the delays, because in a Melbourne Bounce section, you're typically going to have your bass, that's going to be center, your kick and snare, your kick and clap, kicks can be center, claps can be panned, and you have your hats. So there's not a lot of content going out wide in the stereo field. So what you can do to kind of thicken things up is pan some reverbs and some delays, have some slapback delays, have some reverb where you set the pre-delay to be rhythmic to your actual BPM in your song. But let's get into recreating this sound, and I'm going to leave the sausage fattener on for it. So if you're trying to remake this, I would suggest throwing on a compressor or limiter on your track as you make it. So let's jump into it. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on the mono feature, so the sound's going to be monophonic, and turn the portamento up to about 5. And take this from normal to slide, so now it will slide when notes are overlapping, which is a staple of the Melbourne genre. Now let's go to oscillator A1, and in that I'm going to select this QPulse waveform, turn the voices up to 2, keep retrigger selected. I'm going to turn the phase up to about 145 degrees, I would say anywhere around there should do. I'm going to turn the detune up a little bit, and that's just going to be kind of to taste. I found if you go to 3 voices, the detune starts to be really noticeable. So I went about 5. I'm going to turn the detune up to about 5. And if you go above 2 with the voices, it'll kind of start to sound not as mono. It starts to sound weird. So I'm going to keep it at 2, keep the stereo where it is, keep the pan where it is. Now I'm going to crank this decay up, my amp envelope, and I'm going to turn the release up a little as well so the sound breathes after the notes. I'm going to turn it up to about 2.17. Alright, now let's activate oscillator A2 by giving it one voice, at least one voice. And now I'm going to select the noise for this, and it's going to be way too much, so I'm going to turn it down. Down to about 1.67. And then you're not going to touch any of the other knobs there. So that pretty much squares away the oscillator section. Now let's go to our filter. And in filter A, I'm going to select low pass. I'm going to keep the cutoff pretty much where it is at 146. I'm not going to give it any resonance. I am going to boost the drive to about 1.5 though. And I know that made the sound seem like it was going backwards, but we're going to drag in some of the cutoff frequencies back with the modulation envelope here in a minute. And now let's go to the master cutoff section, the filter control, and I'm going to turn the cutoff up all the way. And that will square that away. Now let's go down to our modulation envelope, and I'm going to select, I do this just by habit, I'm going to select cutoff AB. You could just do cutoff A because we're only using part A. It's not going to matter to the actual, it's not going to affect the sound if you choose one or the other. And now I'm going to turn this little knob up to about 8, around there. I'm going to boost the decay. I'm going to turn, and as I do that, I'm kind of turning this filter cutoff down, the master control filter, so I can kind of get a little bit of more of the filter opening up with the decay on the modulation envelope. I'm going to turn the sustain up a little bit as well, maybe to about 1.5. And then just a touch of release, maybe about 1.26 around there. Actually, I'll give it about 1.4. And I'm going to turn this up. Alright, now let's go to the second modulation envelope. In that, I'm going to select pitch A and B here. And I'm just going to I'm actually going to turn this down a little to about 0.57. And now I'm going to play with the decay until I get a result I like. that kind of sounds like a Mario type thing. And then I'm just going to boost the release just a hair. But the main thing here I'm worrying about is the decay. And now let's go to our LFO. And in that, I'm going to select pitch A and B as well. And for the rate, I'm going to select 1/16. So make sure you keep free unselected. Otherwise, your values will be in hertz. So there's 1/16. And for the gain, I'm just going to turn it up a hair. I'm going to turn it up to about 0.81 or around there. All right, and now to actually have that kind of come into play in the sound, I'm just going to boost this to 0.10. So it's a really, really subtle effect, just kind of trying to do some things that will thicken up the sound here. So now let's head on over to the effects section. In the effects section, I'm going to activate the phaser. I'm going to keep the top row how they are. I'm going to turn this phaser LFO rate here to 8/1 D. It's near the bottom. Actually, it is the last one. I'm going to turn that LFO gain down just a hair above 0, so 0.5. So what that's doing is the way I'm setting it, I'm trying to get more nasally with it, because a lot of Melbourne Bounce sounds will have this kind of vocal nasal sound. And I like that. It's a little different from the one we heard in the beginning, but still a similar effect, and I like that. So now I'm going to go to the EQ, and I'm going to check mark it, and the bass, I'm going to keep where it is. The bass frequency, I'm going to keep where it is. I'm going to turn this treble up to about 11 point, I think it's like 0.5 or around there. Decibels. So let's do 11.36 or 11.43. And for the treble frequency, I'm going to keep pretty much where it is. I'm just going to turn it up just a hair, just a touch. Actually, I'm sorry, I'm going to turn it down a little. So just turn it down just a touch. All right, and now I'm going to activate the delay. And the delay, like I said, if you're actually going to get more serious with the turning into a track with a sound, I would put some bust or aux send delays that are kind of like slap delays, but we can help thicken things up just a little. So for this, I'm going to select 1/8 T for my delay left time. I'm going to do the same thing for my delay right. Low cut, high cut, keep it where it is, keep ping pong on, smear, spread, you can keep where they are, and as with feedback and width. Now I'm just going to turn the dry wet down a little. All right, and now I'm going to activate the reverb, and in that I'm going to turn the size down to under halfway. And with this millisecond here, I'm going to do about 117 milliseconds. And then I'm just going to turn the dry wet down a little. Help thicken things up. And finally, I'm going to add the compressor. And I just did that just to kind of slam it without having to you guys use like a limiter or a compressor too much. So the ratio, what you're going to do for that is you're going to go to 2 to 5 to 1 or around there. And then boost the attack just a hair. All right, and there is the sound it's pretty similar to the one in the demo. All I did was kind of add a little bit more noise, and I changed the phaser setting just a little bit. So if you guys have any questions or comments, let me know below, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And if you haven't checked out soundtutorials.com, head on over there and give it a look. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.